Hello learner, welcome once again to Manifested e-learning platform. My name is James Kenyani. We are going to proceed with our topic on reflection and congruence. And in the previous lesson, we've been looking at several reflections on the Cartesian plane. So last lesson, we looked at reflection in the line y is equals to x. In this lesson, we are going to look at yet another new line where y plus x is 0. So at the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to deduce or get points or images of points or objects reflected in that line. But one question comes, where is the line? So the first step for us is to go to the Cartesian plane, which you see there. We have the x-axis, we have the y-axis. So we should find a way of getting that line before we start reflecting some points in the line. So number one, a line represented by such an equation is whereby whatever you add to y will give you a 0. Y plus x is 0. Y plus x is 0. Another way of looking at these, it will mean that y will be equal to negative x. Isn't it? It is same as you take x the other side. It will be y is equal to negative x. I'm just doing that so that we can easily deduce the points to help us to plot that line on the Cartesian plane. Y is equals to x. It means if y is 1, x will be negative 1. If y is 3, x will be negative 3. So those points will help me to plot that graph, that line. They'll help me to plot that line. I'm told if my x is negative 2, my y will be a positive. If x is a negative, it is the equal negative of the other one. So x is negative 2, y will be positive 2. Negative 1, 1. 0, 0. 2, negative 2. So on plotting that line, there is something you discover. The line I'm plotting, y plus x is 0, is in fact perpendicular to a line we dealt with in the other lesson, which was y is equal to x. So the line y plus x is perpendicular to the line y is equal to x at the origin. At the origin. So I'll plot my line where if you have positive, the other one is negative. I come and plot that. So it's good, it's good, learner, to put down the points of plotting. Points of plotting the line. Points of plotting. You'll have x, y. We had 0, 0. Negative 1, 1. Negative 2, 2. When we had 2, this one was negative 2. So the points, these points helped us to plot our line on the Cartesian plane. So this is the line y plus x is equal to 0. Step number 2, we are going to choose points where we shall have the object, and on reflection we have our image. So you can choose a series of points. You can choose a series of points and then we reflect them. So we can start with A, 4, 2, B, 3, 4, C, -4, 3, and D, -5, 5, -2. And see what is going to happen, because in the past reflection we've been finding something happening. Is something bound to happen here? Let's check. So you go to the first point, 4, 2. 4. So that is point A. So we said it should be equal. A distance of the image from the reflection line will be equal to a distance of the image from that. So you try, let's try and see. So you scale that distance, it should be almost the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's actually here. So the image there of A, this distance is the same as that distance, and this is perpendicular. We are actually getting A prime here. So our A prime is -4, 2. -4, -4, -2. A prime, -4, -2. There is something that has already started happening. The coordinates change to the opposite sign. Let's look at 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4 is here. So my object B is here. That is 3, 4. I'll look for the perpendicular distance to the reflecting line. You'll get -3, -4. -3, -4. We look at -4, 3. That is C. That is B. B prime. Let's look at C, -4, 3. It is somewhere here. It's here. -4, 3. Let's reflect it. C. Let's see what happens. -4, 3. We get -3, -3, 4. -4. We get -3. We had -4, 3. This is C. So we've reflected. -4, 3 becomes -3, 4. -3. Let's look at the last one, 5, 2. 5, -2. That is C. D. We shall get D prime, which is 2, negative 5. 2, negative 5. Let's check the first one. Let's check the first one where we had 4, 2. 4, 2. We got for 4, 2, we got what? 4, 2. We got negative 2. Also, this one is supposed to interchange. So you always check. Negative 2, negative 4. Correct. Let's check the second one. Second one. 3, 4. That is B. 3, 4. 3, 4. We should get negative 3 for B, 3, 4. We reflected negative 3, negative 4. Negative 3, negative 4. 3, B was 3, 4. So it's negative 3. It came to, it should be negative 4, negative 4, negative 3. Negative 4, negative 3. Negative 4, negative 3. That's correct. So there is something that is happening there. The coordinates interchange and change the sign. So we can easily write and say, when we reflect AB along a line y plus x is equals to 0, we get an image negative B, negative A. What does that tell you? The coordinates interchange and change the sign. The coordinates interchange and change the sign. E.g., we can have object, image. It is easy to tell. When you have an object 2, 3, what will be the image? Negative 3, negative 2. Interchange and change the sign. When we have negative 4, 1, the answer will be 1, positive 4. When we have learner, for example, 2, 2, 2, 2. When you have 2, 2, interchanging for those who remain the same, negative 2, 2. When you have 3, 1, we'll have negative 1, negative 3. That is actually what happens when you have a reflection along line y plus x is 0. We've also discovered that line y plus x is 0 is perpendicular to line y is equals to x at the origin. The origin is 0, 0. The origin is 0, 0. So at that point, note what we've gone through. We started with that. We collected points which helped us to trace the line y plus x is 0. Then we did trials for several points. And for you learner to get it well, in your graph book, it is easy to get an equal distance equal perpendicular to that, isn't it? You drop a perpendicular there, or your boxes. You'll find in your square boxes, square ones, find the line sometimes will move along the diagonal, and it will go and strike the reflecting line. So a better experience is got when you use a graph book. You really enjoy, apart from getting the concept there, isn't it? So note that this one is very important. When you reflect a point, AB along that line, we get an image negative B, negative A. So for the exercise assignment, find the images of the following when reflected in line y plus x is equal to 0. So A, P, 3, negative 4, B, Q, 5, negative 6, C, D, negative 3, 8, E, D, point E, reflect it along point E, which is 6, negative 2. So you'll find the images of that. You have a concept there which can easily get you to the point. So the concept is important, but make sure get the best experience of that when you use your graph books. Your graph books will give you the best experience on that concept when reflected in the line y is equal to x, which is a perpendicular line to in the previous lesson. We dealt with is perpendicular to y is equals to x at the origin. Origin is 0, 0. So thank you, learner, for the always get the experience of going through the assignment. So thank you. Bye, and let's meet in the next lesson.